I'm going to start off this video with a bit of a thank you. This is from Jeff, or Banjo as he likes to be called. He's got one of these in Australia, but it's fitted with an Isuzu engine as standard. They're a pretty rare beast. He's in Western Australia, but I sort of remember when I was in Northern Territories, all these big termite-y things. Not good for camping. Anyway, and he also sent me a little plaque to go on the wall, so that's going to be nice, and we'll be putting his picture up. He likes what we do here, everybody else does, I suppose. And that Land Rover there has got 925,000 kilometres on it. Bloody hell, how many turbo diesels would that do? About 925,000, I would have thought. Anyway, thanks for that, Mr. Banjo. But today, as you can see, we've got sunshine. And you know what that means? Spring's on its way. Now, this morning, I'll do a little weather forecast because you might want to know. This morning, it was a chilly 4 degrees, going up to 14 degrees later in the afternoon. But next week, because this is Thursday, by next Thursday, it's going to be 25 degrees. So spring comes very, very quickly here. You can actually see, if you're lazy enough and you've got nothing to do, you can actually watch the buds come out of the trees and go bing into leaves instantly. I ain't got time for that because I've got to get on with this bloody Range Rover. Before that, look, let's put this to one side, because down here, oops, sorry about that. I got the engine put back together yesterday. All I've got to do is plug all the holes up with plastic plugs and tape, you know, tape across the manifolds to stop any dirt and muck getting in. Quick squirt of WD-40, drink up. And then we're going to put that into storage because it's a good engine. The only thing I'm missing is I'm going to put the old crankshaft seal on because it was like new. All the little ribs were in it, never leaked, not a drop. I'm going to put the old one back on. Why not? It's free country. But I sent the tool that JP made me to his next door neighbour, who was promising to do a drawing so you could make one yourself. But they haven't finished it yet. Anyway, so that's my job for today. Get that done, get tidied up in the shop, and get started on the Range Rover. Now, if you recall the last outing we had with the Range Rover, it was running fine with a new set of plugs in. Well, fine-ish. There's still a little bit of work to do, but some people said, oh, it doesn't run very well. But it's never been stood. It's been stood for 8 years. There could be all sorts wrong that we don't know. So just to get it running was a triumph by, you know, just changing the plugs. And then it cut out. But it was putting a code out on the OBD2 reader to say that it was something to do with the check engine light. It was either open circuit or closed circuit. Now, this is a bit of a puzzle, because if you can remember when I very first started it, and it ran like a bag of hammers, I mentioned that it was running, but there was no check engine light on. Now, has the bulb gone? I don't know. But it seems to be, looking off the circuit diagram here, it needs a 10 amp supply, feeding the bulb, and then it goes to the ECU. Not the other way around. The ECU doesn't power the bulb up and then go to ground, it goes the other way. And that's the way most ECU works. They're the opposite way around to logical thinking. So I'm going to fake this under the dash. Faking, how many times have you heard that? So I'm going to fake this so I can actually see under the dash a check engine light before I finish off all the rest of the wiring and work out what's along with the dash, because I only want to take the dash out, you know, the instrument cluster out once, and that'll be enough. So let's see how that goes today. It should be alright. I can't see a bit of a problem with it. Now, over in this over this corner here, Bill sent me an air conditioning unit for the same truck. Well, it's out with disco, but it'll fit the Range Rover. And also, what was it? A washer bottle for a Disco 1, which I was looking for a long time. Why not use the Range Rover one? Well, the Range Rover ECU was under the seat, so they put a bigger washer bottle on because it had that screen headlamp washing thing, so it needed a big capacity because it used about 12 gallons per squirt. So the Disco 1 didn't have that feature, and it's narrower because the ECU fitted down the side of it. So then I can put it all back together. So where are you going with this? Why are you putting AC in it, Mike, and making life complicated? Because the AC switch on signal comes from the engine ECU. When you've got AC and it's running a pump, what happens is that the engine management system raises the RPM to compensate for the drag on the AC pump. And this is why on some 300 TDIs they had electronic diesel control, and it was principally to do that. When you had AC in a car, it would pull up the RPM, and also at the same time you can use that feature for cruise control. You know, you can vary the speed of the engine and just by keeping a constant speed. So maybe we can get a lot of other things working. But now's the time. Sorry, what a bloody carry on, it's like a boiler house, isn't it? So now's the time to do as much wiring under the dash, under the engine compartment as we can, rather than getting the engine running and thinking, oh, that's great, taping everything up, then pulling it all back out again to fit the AC. I'm sure it'll work. And the beauty about this is, that AC unit there is out of a Disco 1. That engine there is out of a Disco 1. So fingers crossed, all the pipes will just join back up together. How many times have we heard that before? But I do have some pretty fancy dancy AC tools where you can crimp on different connectors onto ends of pipes, so all's not lost. So let's get this bag boxed up, this engine, and then we can get on and have a look at this Range Rover, you know, in the sunshine. I was on this Range Rover all day yesterday, just trying to work out why it wouldn't start. And Curtis came down in the end, in the afternoon, and gave us a helping hand, but it was really, really frustrating. Now you'll see in a minute when I look at the front of the engine, front of the car, the engine. I did fake up a check engine light under the bonnet so I could actually see it going on and off, if you see what I mean, and it worked. Yeah, it was going off. No faults on the computer, but it still wouldn't start. So I crawled under the car, and I have a horn here that will attach to the fuel pump wiring, so I could hear if there was power getting to the pump. Well, there was, because there's a circuit, and the circuit's really simple. There's your engine control, that's your control module, which has got a little relay in it. 10 amp goes to 10 amp operates the solenoid, which goes to the ground through the ECU. So I know the ECU was working and the wiring was working, but why wouldn't it start? This'll freak you out. It was a brand new pump, a brand spanking new pump put in there. Now, what was happening was, we weren't getting any power coming through here, but we were getting power to the wire here. This is the pump that was fitted. Inside here, there's a break in the wire. Brand spanking new. I've never seen that in my career of messing about, but that threw us a little bit. So now we needed a pump, which we didn't have, because this is the original pump off this car, and this has decided not to work. So has it caused a short? Because this wouldn't work at all. I don't know what the hell's wrong with it. So I thought, well, I'm not going to buy a new one, and I'm not really sure if they're suitable for a 4 litre, but I know that this one was. This is a used, well, I think it was a brand new one actually, but it had been on the shelf for years and years and years. So I thought, I'll take the pump out of here and make a hybrid to go with the original setup. Not a problem, except when I opened it up. I must have done this years ago. I'd cobbled up an old pump to fit in there. Oh, what a carry on. So then, I had a brand new unit on the shelf, because these are the ones that drop into your plastic tank. So I collared off the pump on here, attached it to the old one I had on the shelf and just cobbled it up with some hose, and we ended up putting a hose clip round there and just dropped it in the tank, and it worked. But it only took us 5 hours to work it out. It was just really strange. It's just one thing after another with these pumps. It seems straightforward. Oh, and just to add in, just to make life that little bit more tasty, even though we were following red to red and black to black on the wires, here, when we put the hybrid pump in, you could hear it working. Bzzz, great, no problem at all. Put it in the tank, pff, no fuel. And I said to Kurt, I'm getting sick of this, so I just undid the multi-plug and put the wires in the other way around, and it worked. What a carry on. Anyway, it's in and it's running. So let me show you what I found at the front. Now, I know the wiring in this corner is a real cat's cradle of stuff, and some stuff we need and some stuff we don't need. But as I mentioned earlier, that I'm not going to tape it all up until I'm satisfied everything's working, because I don't want to undo it again. But it starts up, there is a misfire, but that's perhaps a good thing, because now I can get into the computer and it's running. I can actually run this long enough so it can throw a code and tell me what's going wrong. Is it a bad injector? Is it spark plug, wire, coil pack? The computer will tell me. So let's start it up and I'll show you something interesting. See what I mean? It sounds like a bag of hammers, doesn't it? One of the interesting things we found out, you remember when I was saying that the pulley on the AC compressor needed a new bearing? Well, it didn't. Listen. The pulley's actually seized up on the clutch. The clutch is seized up. I've got the wire off it here. There's the wire off it, but it's still engaged. So I've got that to fix. But it has got a misfire. I've started to blank off holes and things like that, but I can hear air being intake somewhere, and I don't know what it is. But yesterday I was just so pleased it was bloody running. Today I'm going to find out what's wrong with this. I don't know. I'm clutching at straws now, but like I said, now it's running. And it's running a little bit high idle, so that's a clue it could be drawing air in somewhere. But today's job is to pull that bloody pulley off and disengage it. It's probably just rusted up. But that's it. That's all it was. So, kind of pleased with that. Oh, I didn't show you there. There's my check engine light on there. Look on the dash at the top there. So yeah, that's it. Oh, there was a split hose. I thought that was the problem with the air. Apparently not. So I'll put a new one of those on. I haven't got one, but I'll order one in. The hose for the intake for the manifold here is all split and knackered, so this isn't helping, so I will replace those, and I think that's contributing to the misfire a little bit. It's getting air in from somewhere, so it's running and I'm happy with that, and it starts. Now the thing is that I can finish off under this engine bay. I got the Bill sent me the AC fans and radiator and things. The only thing that was missing was a pipe that goes from here to here. That was missing, which was really bad. And then I've got to change the plugs, because the plugs don't match here naturally. They're round pins, they're flat pins. No big deal, we'll soon get that running. Then I can bolt all this lot up, This unit's out of a Discovery 1, so what I've got to do is make some brackets to go from like a captive nut here, and carefully drill it and put 2 little captive nuts in here just to make an angle bracket to come down. I think that'll be fine, so no big deal. Yeah, so it just sort of never ends, does it? Never ends. But I'm sort of starting to see the light on this now, light at the end of the tunnel, probably oncoming train. But now I can, like I say, keep repeating myself, because like you say, yesterday was just a nightmare of a day. Such a simple thing just throws you off. You can think, oh, it's the computer, there's something wrong with the computer. The computer was fine. It was just that bloody fuel pump. Sometimes it goes like that, eh? Right, see you later.